Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to our Be a Pro Goalie series with Frank. And I know it's been a long time, and it always seems like it's such a long time in between these episodes, but that's just the way it is. We're dedicated to those goalie tips. They're the most popular videos on our channel, but I want to please the Be a Pro guys as well. I haven't played this in a while. What we're going to do in this video, it's going to be a little different. We're going to play a full game, but I'm not going to edit it, and we're going to shorten the periods up just a little bit because honestly I find that the reason these Be a Pro videos come out so slow is just because I don't have a lot of time to edit. It's just the way it is. I've picked up a lot of I've picked up a couple jobs, so I'm doing 3 jobs. I'm rehabbing my elbow because I had surgery on it, and we're making tips videos, and we're setting up the eSports league. So it's been a while. Sorry, let me get acclimated here. I thought the period length was in the rules, but it's I guess it's just in the Be a Pro settings. Yep, there they are. So we're gonna play a 4-minute period. Difficulty All-Star. Yep, that is correct. All right, so let's get right into this. Frank on the Winnipeg Jets versus the Blackhawks. This could be a tough game. We'll see, but 12 minutes nonetheless. So it should be a bit of a shorter game for us. Maybe a few less shots. All right, guys. I want to know what you think would make this this series more interesting. You know, I had a good time at the start of the year playing on a super hard difficulty. I didn't know I was playing on a harder difficulty than default, but as it turns out, that was the case. All-Star is the default difficulty in NHL 18, in case you were wondering. But we were playing on Superstar and getting lit up a little bit. I was a little frustrated, not gonna lie. But just like I was saying before, the editing just kind of, it pulled me down. And I know it's just, I'm a YouTuber, so I gotta get used to it. But these one-shot videos are always going to be easier. Okay, so we'll see how this goes. Maybe we can't do it just because we won't. Oh my god, what a tip. Big save by Frank there. Another big blocker there. Ooh, we're facing some good. I was just talking about how I didn't think I was going to face many shots when you face like 3 or 4 right there. That's funny. Maybe not a good sign for our defense there to be facing that many shots this early, but we'll see. I did this style of video last year, and I really liked it a lot better. We always had topics to talk about, and this one I'm kind of spitballing, I'm not going to lie. So whatever comes into my brain. And as I say that, I didn't even have my recording settings set up properly. We were recording for 3 minutes, and then it stopped on us. So we're back. We should be good there. Big chance in the slot there. Okay, if you guys didn't know, we actually got a broadcaster and a production for our eSports streams, for our 6-on-6 streams. F5 Penguin, he's on Twitter. If you just look him up there, Nick DeMio, I think his name is. Forgive me if I butchered that, Nick, but he's doing our broadcast. He's doing commentary on the games. He's got a partner there with Fielder's Choice. It's a real legit setup, to be honest. So I'm really pumped to have him on board. He's going to do a lot of great things for our LG community. You guys should check out our streams. I tweet them at LG ESHL is the Twitter, and that is our league's Twitter. It's the best 6v6 teams in the world. And yes, the North Americans, I truly believe, are better than the Europeans. And you can prove me wrong all you want, but the Euros aren't willing to play for money yet. We set up a European tournament for them, and NHL Gamer, the European site, sadly saw that we set up a money tournament on LG, and they weren't too happy about it. And I don't have a problem talking about this right now, because it's honestly a pretty bad, it's a poor choice by their website. It reflects badly on their whole website. So we set up the European tournament on LG, and the European teams were interested. We had interest. We had about 7 teams starting to show interest. That was in the first week, the first post of like just gathering interest for these European Sixes teams. And then all of a sudden they started deleting their posts, and I'm like, what's going on here? So I kind of did some asking around and poking around. Turns out the NHL Gamer admins were actively going around and telling those teams that they needed to delete their post because they are worried about LG taking over their site and taking over the European scene of hockey, which is just too bad. So let me put this in perspective for you. NHL Gamer does not offer money tournaments for sixes, whereas LG does. They have their own league where they run only club, and they have 3 divisions, kind of like our eSports league does, and they just play for free against each other, and that's fine or whatever. But the European players asked us to run a money league, and then because NHL Gamer is worried that we're taking their players or something, they went out of their way and said they made those guys delete their posts. I don't know what they told them. I don't know if they told them they were going to ban them. I don't know. But they said, the guy said something like he thought that they were going to take drastic measures. So clearly it wasn't like they told them to delete their post. And I think that is actively working against what the NHL community is working towards. We want 6v6 esports, and we have websites getting jealous because other websites are offering something they don't, and they're just more concerned about themselves and the community as a general. And it's too bad, because I was very close with those NHL Gamer guys. I was very excited about what they were doing, and then we go and offer a tournament, which we pushed back to make room because they were in the middle of their playoffs, and they go ahead and just do that, and they get jealous. And honestly, they only care about themselves. They're not concerned with esports at all for NHL or the NHL community. Because for it to exist, it's going to exist on multiple platforms. You know, NHL esports, if the NHL, which they currently host a versus esports league, they're not going to do it through a site like LG or NHL Gamer. Whether we think they are or not, they're going to pick their own site like ESL or ESEA or Face It, as they have now, and they're going to set it up through that site. And so I don't know. Like, I don't know what NHL's gaming thought process there. I'm just really, really sad that they decided that they would actively work against NHL 6's esports. It's not like we were sitting there asking them to advertise the tournament, you know? Like, I don't expect you to advertise it on your site. You don't have to mention it on your site. Just don't tell your player base not to sign up. That's ridiculous. That's sickening, to be honest. Reflects, again, very poorly on their website, and I lost all respect I had for them, which is sad because they were good guys. But it turns out they're just a little salty, I guess. You know, and like I said, there's been people who are going to watch this video and say, well, LG isn't out there. You know, there's this thing where someone on our website on LG wanted LG to promote the World Gaming Hockey Tournament. It was a versus tournament on the site to help viewership for it. And what we said was, well, World Gaming isn't sitting here promoting our eSports Hockey League 6v6 tournament, you know, like they're not advertising that on there. And the way business works is if you expect someone to advertise for you, you're going to have to do it in return, right? So their argument was that we have LG players participating in the tournament, and I said that's great, but we're not going to sit there and promote their website. That's just not the way it works, because they're not promoting sixes at all. They're not promoting our website, and that's not working against community. Whereas if LG told the players not to sign up for the tournament because it's on their site, then yeah, we're working against the community there. But we're not, because we know it's not it's realistic that multiple sites will have esports events. That's how it works on every other game. You know, you got the COD World League or whatever it's called, hosted by Call of Duty itself, and then you got websites like MLG, like Game Battles. You've got the was it ESEA on COD, or is it just ESL? Anyway, there's like a boatload of websites that exist. When I played back in the day, Counter-Strike had like CEVO, we had Cal, we had ESL, we had Team Warfare, there was a bunch of websites, and every team just actively participated. And it doesn't mean they promoted each other, which I'm not asking anyone to do, but it's not like they're like, don't sign up for that. because they're afraid they're going to lose a player base. It's pretty sad. We had a very good opportunity for the two sites to work together on something. You know, LG hosts a tournament for money, and then maybe NHL Gamer could host a tournament for North Americans on their site just to get acclimated. Or we could have done a show match where, you know, it's not ideal, but we could have had the top European players play against the top North American players. It would be on 120 ping and be miserable for both teams. We could split the series up and just kind of do it for fun, knowing that it's really meaningless until it happens on LAN. We could have done a bunch of fun things. I would have loved it because I like the European community. There's that rivalry where we're never, ever going to know who is better until NHL is played on LAN. And 6v6 specifically is played on LAN. Because the ping difference, when you play on European servers or Europeans play on North American servers, it's like 75 to 100 ping. It's just not going to work for either team. But we could have done a bunch of fun things, but it's too bad that relationship is now ruined. You know, LG will not be hosting anything for European players unless we go all in and try and capitalize on them, you know, being scumbags like that. And I'm not afraid to say it publicly. I haven't tweeted about it yet. Maybe I will before this video hits. I'm not sure, but just very disappointing things from the European NHL gamer there. Anyway, so let's talk about the NHL versus eSports. And very disappointing that the eSports... Whoa! Oh my god, what a save by Frank. Look, oh my god. Right stick, spread eagle, beauty save, holding on to that 1-0 lead there. Oh, we're gonna... No, okay, alright. Back to NHL eSports. So, the NHL paired with Faceit to play in to host the NHL $100,000 versus tournament. And people were disappointed that Versus was chosen. People were blaming EA, which I find odd because I'll tell you right now, as a game changer, EA, all they did, the only thing that they're involved with outside of it being NHL 18 being used for the tournament is that's it. EA was not involved. They consulted a little bit. I can guarantee you they said that Sixes is probably the most competitive mode. You can see the advertisings here on the boards here. Honestly, that the only thing EA was involved with was providing the game, and that's it. The rest was the NHL, and they probably felt they didn't really consult anyone in the community who knew what they were talking about. They consulted. They talked to guys, and they said that Sixers were the best, but they thought that there wouldn't be enough teams and that Versus would be easier. So one of those things is true. Setting up a Versus esports tournament is 100% easier. There's less rules to worry about, and there's more like teams. Technically, it's just one person, right? And it's easy for people to just log in and invite the other team and play. You don't have to worry about getting 12 guys on at one time, even though, which brings me to the next point, is that leagues have been doing this for a long time already. Just with the Versus thing, like, you don't have to worry about guys lagging out, because if they lag out, the game's over. And with Sixes, it would have been more difficult because they would have had to have a rule set for when guys lagged out. They would have had to have rules in place for teams not showing up on time. All of this could have been taken care of by consulting an LG admin like Triss, myself, Brody. Nuge isn't even an admin. They could have consulted Nuge. They could have consulted any high-level Sixes player in the community to help them set this tournament up. But instead they didn't. They took the easy way out, all right? And I'm not bashing them for that. I just think it could have done a lot. It could have been done a lot better. They wanted NHL esports, and they were rushing it. They rushed it, in my opinion. But it's the way it is. It's better than nothing. I just hope this doesn't deter too many people from playing, because apparently Faceit's been really inconsistent with their admins. There's been a bunch of weird rules that the NHL didn't even think out in versus, which is weird, and like making people replay games because the connection's bad. That's not a good reason for me. I'm sorry. If your connection sucks, your connection sucks. I get it. It's brutal, but quit out in the first 2 minutes. Don't play the full game and then say the connection sucks because you lost. That's pretty brutal. We got guys complaining about it being best of one, which is a fair complaint, but at the same time, it would work in sixes. It wouldn't be ideal. It would work better in sixes because the skill gap's higher. It takes more skill to play sixes. And although one game, anything can happen because it's hockey, and hockey is naturally an unlucky sport. It's the most... hockey, according to some research, is the game where chance has more of an impact on the outcome of the game than any other sport. So they say hockey is the least skill-based game out there, just because of all the random bounces that can happen and guys on skate. It's just the way it is. People think NHL 18 is inconsistent and there's bad bounces, and that's part of hockey. I don't want it in my video game either, but that's just the replicating hockey, and hockey's naturally got some bad bounces. Anyway, I kind of lost track of where I was there, but we were talking the versus best of ones. Yeah, that mode is not ideal for one best of ones, but at the same time, you got to get through thousands and thousands of people. How are you going to do that? You're going to have to just bang out the games as fast as you can, and that's what they did, and I don't blame them for it. Anyway, the moral of the story is there's this big... I don't know like where people are getting this from. They're like, the sixes versus ones community's got to stop. Like, I don't think anybody from the sixes community was out there actively bashing versus. They were just saying like, wow, this would be a lot better if it was 6v6 as a more skilled mode. And I think versus players took it personally, and clearly showed their toxicity. And then they started saying, well, no, like the sixes guys were going against us or whatever. No, it's just we think sixes is the more skilled mode, which it is because you're complaining about the AI. And the AI is playing a factor in a win, which is not competitive at all. So regardless, we're winding down here. I'm ranting about this. The point is, we're the NHL community. We got to work together to have any form of esports at all, which means being less toxic. Like, you guys, I get it. You're not happy with the game. You want esports. Everyone wants esports, yet we're all on Twitter and we're just going, well, it's not esports ready. The game sucks. Well, I think the community would be less toxic if the game didn't suck as much. That's not true. The game was good and the community was still toxic. The community was toxic in old gen when people thought the game was bad, but it was actually good. Like, you just gotta, like, honestly, you gotta work together as a community as a whole to make it happen, and it's not gonna happen with toxic attitudes. There's a way to give criticism. You don't have to say the game sucks. That doesn't get anything done. If someone tells you, if I was watching over your job and I was your supervisor and I came up to you and you weren't scrubbing toilets the way I thought you should be scrubbing toilets, and I go, man, that's awful. You're doing an awful job. That's fucking terrible. What's your response going to be? You're going to tell me to fuck off. You're cleaning toilets. Like, I don't get it. The way you give feedback and constructive criticism is you say, hey, this is what's wrong with the game. This is why we're upset. This is what needs to be fixed, okay? That's it. You don't have to tell people they suck. You don't have to tell them the game sucks. You don't got to do any of that. That's not accomplishing anything, all right? People who run leagues, don't bash them for doing their best. They're volunteering. I guarantee all the sixes leagues you sign up for are volunteers. Guys are volunteering their personal time to run these leagues. So go easy on them. They're working their hardest. In our own league, I run it, but I got a lot of help. And we've got 5 or 6 guys dedicating their personal time, their talents on honestly things they should be getting paid for. And they're dedicating and volunteering their time to the community because they want something nice. And the community isn't always very receptive of that. And they think they're entitled, you know, saying things like, what has LG done for me? Well, they've provided a great website for you to play sixes hockey on. They've provided tournaments. They've organized it. They've put in time. They've put in hard work to set up a lot of great things for the community, all right? So that's my rant, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Not bad. We might have to do this again. We got a shutout. I didn't play with sound on my headphones, and we faced 17 shots. That's unheard of in a 12-minute game. No, a big shutout, like unreal there. We only got second star. That's fine. It's whatever. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.